Welcome, everyone. My name is Jay, and peers know me as a sales ninja. And just a bit of background, I was a former introvert, former banker, former pastor and preacher, reluctant evangelist, a lot of formers, but I actually pivoted to high ticket sales closing as an appointment setter and then a high ticket closer. I'm going to be sharing some stories and asking you some questions about how frustrated sales can be in your business. And as you and I know, sales and cash flow is the name of the game because it doesn't matter how much sales that you close in terms of contracted revenue, but it's actually cash is king or cash is queen for our ladies. And the difference between being able to collect cash is going to be able to help take your business, grow it, and scale it to the next level. So I'm going to be sharing with you how I was able to close $100,000 in only 10 days using the reverse glass selling method and how that enabled me to generate over $1 million in only 12 weeks as a high ticket closer and 25 million plus in client revenue. And more importantly for you, how you can close more sales and collect more cash. So let's get started right away. I wanted to share some KPIs and a couple of case studies so that you can understand who I am and why you should be listening to me. Some KPIs in the cold email and outreach realm. In industry standards, if you're generating about a 17 to 20% open rate on cold emails, I was able to generate a 73% open rate, which means for every 100 emails that you sent out as cold email outreach, typically, if you're really, really good at this, about 17 to 20 people would open this on 100 emails. And I was able to get people to open 73 out of 100. In terms of reply rates, the exceptional open rates for cold email is about 1 to maybe 2%, meaning out of 100 emails, only 1 to 2% will reply. Half of that could be like, get me off the list or unsubscribe. I was able to get 30% reply rates, which is out of 100, 30 people replying instead of 1 to 2. And in terms of cash collected in the industry for high ticket space, you're looking at 15 to 30% ish on cash collected rates. And I was able to achieve over 96% cash collected rates month to month, back to back, and close rates of over 81%, meaning for every 10 high ticket closing calls, 8 of those would close. And one thing that is really important in sales and the reverse class selling method is also the show up rate. Show up rate basically means out of the calls that you had, whether inbound or whether outbound, how many of those are showing up to your calls? And when I was working for an 8-figure coach, he had a 30% show up rate, meaning of the 10 appointments that were booked on my calendar, only 3 people would show up out of 10. So I was able to put together, using the reverse class selling method, a framework that helped increase it from 30% to 94%. So you can imagine with an over 3x show up rate, that would triple your sales based on the exact same close rate. Okay, so I want to give you a couple examples. So client number one, I was able to close $87,087 in 10 days with a 60% show up rate and a 47% close rate. So I closed almost half of those deals. And the next client case study was 100% cash collected rate. That was in 4 calls in 10 days, was able to close 100% of those cash collected. And then the client number 3, and then I'm going to share with you the reverse glass selling method, is a 30-day training nightmare. Okay, so I was hired on a brand new offer. They gave me a 30-day runway to do training, and I didn't even know, but they put me on the calendar within 12 hours, meaning I had zero training, I had no sales script, I had zero product knowledge and information. And I thought there was a mistake here, so I got on the call, and the person that was on the other side was basically saying that they had gotten like 4 or 5 other sales calls with different coaches in the same genre. And I basically just shared with them that I was on the first day and I was not even trained. And I was just completely honest. And this is part of the reverse glass selling method in not trying to sell people, but trying to serve. And I wonder when you guys are selling, if you've been taught the salesy, sleazy, pushy, aggressive tactics, just like a used car salesperson or someone on commission that's trying to push a product that you don't even want. And I know that being in the retail, when I go into a store or a clothing store or a car dealership, that's been the case for me. And I wonder if you felt that and if you felt that ick If you have, then you know how I feel and how you like to be sold, which is people don't like to be sold, but people like to buy. So with that situation where I was on the first call with zero training, I was completely honest. I said, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea how this program works. And he just laughed and chuckled and said, everyone else was the expert and the guru, and you, like the guy who is the complete opposite, doesn't know anything. And he says, that's very refreshing. So he says, why don't we just walk through it and see, if this can work? So I went back and forth with my team in Slack, whoever was available. And long story short, within like 30 minutes, the prospect basically said, I'm in. I'm going to be your first sale. And that was my first a day on the job with zero training, and I closed that client and enrolled them. And I found out later that the team basically was putting me on a test to see if I would survive, and didn't even expect anything to come out of that. So the glass selling method is an acronym for five ways in how you can sell more, and without sounding that salesy, sleazy, ick. And the first letter G is give first. Okay, so always give first by adding value on the call. Number two is L, listen well. We've lost the art of listening, and we need to learn how to listen to understand so that people feel understood. So always put the other person first, which is why it's people over profit. Number three is ask open-ended piercing questions. I'm going to break some of this down for you guys. So use questions that require intelligent and revealing answers. I'm going to break that down and look at what the framework looks like. And the fourth way is to sincerely handle questions up front. A lot of people don't do that until after, and it's actually too late. So view those objections as questions, not as negative events. And the last but not least, S, is serve with humility. Okay, I know you may know more, or you may not. You may be able to help people, but please put the ego aside. In the We Are the World documentary on Netflix, it's Quincy Jones, the director, was bringing all these superstar people in, and he put one side of the door with all these greats like Michael Jackson and Phil, all these amazing people, and he says, leave your ego at the door. And when you serve, you need to serve with humility instead of trying to sell people. So approach sales with a servant's heart. Okay, so let's break this down in terms of the give first. So the first step in the reverse glass selling method is always to give value and always to help serve people. And some powerful ways that you can deliver immediate impact, depending on what your niche and what your program is provide them some great value. So let's say you're a business growth consultant or a sales coach like myself. One thing that I would do is I would offer like a Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn audit, to be able to do a brand audit, to be able to help them with their banner profile or their bios, or even a sales audit to look at their sales scripts or how they handle objections. And I would actually just coach them as if they were my real client and help them identify opportunities and gaps. Help them to get that rapid transformation. Number two. So let's say you can help them shred 17 pounds in 7 days. How you can unlock powerful mindset shifts. How you can help them go from quiet to confident. And last but not least, are there ways that you can supercharge their business or their health or their mindset with a ninja level audit to offer crystal clear positioning so that they're in a better place than before when they came in the call. And this can drive massive results. So in the first letter G, when you can give and over deliver on a free call, a complimentary call, they're going to be wanting to learn more about your program. L is listen well. The second step in the glass selling method is to listen well by putting aside any agenda to pitch or to sell or to try to close prospects. Always put them first. So, your only job is to help the person make the best decision for themselves, not for you, not for me, right? Sales is a transformational leadership, not a transactional action. Okay. So don't look at them as a means to an end or provide, food on the table or make ends meet, even though those are some real, life issues. We're here to serve. Approach with an intent to help them and remain free from the outcome. A is ask open-ended piercing questions. Okay, what I mean by that? There's 5 questions that you can ask, and I'm going to share with you what open-ended piercing questions is not. Close questions are things that end with yes or no. Hey, do you want to join the program? Hey, are you ready to get started? Which is yes or no, right? That's going to be a game closer. right? But what you can do is ask what, when, where, how, why. So start with questions like, what have you tried? When are you looking to get these results? Where have you looked for these solutions? Who have you hired to help you? How do you expect to do this by yourself? Even why? Why do you want to achieve these $10,000 months? And these open the door to meaningful dialogue that will show genuine interest in understanding your prospect's needs. It'll also help open the door to understand the pains, the problems, desires, and also the dreams that your prospective client has. And this will really unveil and uncover the real challenges they're facing. And the better that you can ask better questions, the better you're going to reveal better answers. And that will help you get down to the bottom line of what the actual person is struggling with, help them understand their needs. Remember, you listen to understand so that they feel understood. It will help them drive a better decision because you built rapport, you've established trust, and now they understand that that their problem is something that you can confidently help them with. Okay, so asking open-ended, piercing questions is very, very important and vital. S is sincerely handling objections. So you can really handle all these objections up front. For example, I need to talk to someone, or this sounds really expensive, or I don't trust you. So those are some common objections. So in terms of talking to another spouse or partner, or I need to pray about it, what you can do up front is, even before the call happens, is in the Calendly or the calendar, or even on the verbal, like if you're doing a two-close triage discovery to strategies sales call, you can actually say to them, can you ensure that any decision makers, like a partner, a spouse, an investor, is on the call, so that all decision makers and all stakeholders are on the call, so that we don't have to get on multiple calls. And you actually verbally confirm that. And then on the calendar appointment, you can also state in the little descriptions, please ensure that all people that are making decisions are on the call. And number three is, if you have an intake form, you can also say in a multiple choice, will you make sure that people that are on the call to make decisions will be on that call, or we have the right to cancel the call. So those are ways that you can handle those objections up front, so that at the end of the call, you're not having to answer the question of like, oh, I need to talk to a spouse, I need to talk to a business partner. That's already handled up front. The S is serve with humility. And this teaching and this lesson and framework as a person of faith is taken from 1 Peter 3:15, which is a biblical framework to serve people with gentleness and respect, right? So when you take off this ego and this hat and serve with humility, take off your sales hat and treat them as if they were a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a son, a daughter. We would serve them differently if they were a family or a friend, wouldn't we? I would hope so. So if there's any fault that is happening in the conversation or in the process, take responsibility, admit fault. If there's miscommunication, if there's misinformation, and what more importantly is, people will feel that they're heard, they're understood, and they're cared for. So please serve with humility. And to recap all this, the reverse glass selling method has proven to be a powerful tool, not only for myself, but for my clients in closing high ticket sales. One of my clients was able to generate $156,000 in 2 weeks. My 71-year-old senior retired client, who was not able to monetize in over 41 years, was able to close over 90% of her 10 calls, generating over $15,000. And these can achieve remarkable results for you when you follow the reverse glass selling method by focusing on giving value, listening attentively, asking thoughtful and open-ended, piercing questions, handling objections upfront and sincerely, and serving with humility. So if you're a sales professional, if you're a high-ticket coach, if you're a SaaS or tech founder, you can really build trust and close deals more effectively when you use the reverse glass selling method. Remember, sales without faith is dead. So this is Jay Lee, aka Sales Ninja, hoping and praying that you will sell more to give more with proven sales ninja strategies such as the reverse glass selling method. Thank you so much for your time.